I'm the show. God, what's got to say? I'm not a criminal.
In association with POW Comics.
Hey there, folks! Check it out. There's Vancouver Comic Con coming up. January, what does it say there, 18th? 18th! These things are a lot of fun. They're really cheap to go into. You can get all the comics you goddamn want, super, super cheap. I enjoy the hell out of these. They usually have a pretty cool guest. Who's the guest in this one? Matthew Clark. Oh, he's a pretty good artist, Matthew Clark. But there's all sorts of great guys that show up there, local artists. And if you just want to meet the local scene, hang out and find some great cheap buys, there's always just wicked. Like, there's a guy who sells comics for like, what is it? 10 for $1 or something?
Sometimes, yeah.
And there's oftentimes just like big piles of free comics. Please take these. I'm sick of seeing them. It's a lot of fun. I should introduce Dave, Jump the Shark Evil. And over here we got Ray, Cousin Oliver Chan. Yay! So this week we're going to cover the Dark Reign, Secret War stuff. We're going to start things off here with Avengers, the Initiative. We're approaching, of course, the finale of Secret Invasion with these books. This issue of Avengers the Initiative, as you can see on the cover, mostly features the 3D man and his battle with the Skrull kill crew as they slaughter Skrulls indiscriminately, left, right, and center. A hell of an issue, this one. I really enjoyed it. This new artist guy, who seems to only have been doing this one issue, Totally Bow, whatever his name is, he's okay. He handles the book fairly meh. The conclusion of this particular issue pissed me off, but then in the next issue it exonerated itself quite a bit. There was a moment at the end of this that seemed like people were treating something really intense really lightly. So if this issue pissed you off, don't worry, the next issue exonerates what seems like a lack of care about a certain somebody. Very neat moment at the end of this. I don't want to spoil it because people get pissed when I spoil things. I don't know what the hell that was. I just feel like touching my... is that sexy, Steve? You guys like that? Okay. Whoa.
I think it's
Speaking of jumping the shark, but I highly recommend this issue regardless of an ending that kind of pissed me off a little bit. And who doesn't love the Skrull Kill Crew? Maybe you guys, because you don't know them. You know the Skrull Kill Crew?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I love them, but I know them.
Oops.
Ninja down! Ninja down, damn. Oh, by the way, I should get a quick shot of the Dave Evil Vault of Evil. I mean, check this shit out, man. Right down here, you got the hero clicks and the samurai dudes and my penis. And then you got like the Marvel horror characters and whatnot. The official licenses, of course, you got Frankenstein and Dracula and Simon Garth Zombie, and of course, Jack Russell Werewolf. Two of them. Two of them.
So they can fight.
Like, fuck around. And then up here you got, of course, Shang-Chi beating the crap out of Iron Fist. And why is that, Dave?
Because he's the master of Kung Fu. Yay. There's no doubt, at least in this house, that he is the master.
Dave likes Shang-Chi. And of course, Ninja with a guitar! Good times. So, next issue, Secret Invasion, the conclusion of the series. I will say the conclusion book was much better than most of the books that followed. As most people out there that have been following the show know, I really loved Secret Invasion #1 so much so that we did a whole segment on investigating the possible nuances of what was going on. The problem with Secret Invasion as a whole is it seemed like it was going to be really complex and well thought out, and it wasn't. There was all this shit with like the Jessica Jones, Luke Cage baby with the glowing green eyes. We all assumed there was some Skrull stuff going on there, but the reveals were kind of lame. And in this issue, spoiler alert! I'm actually going to spoil something. There's this big moment here with Janet Van Dyne. She just turned into some kind of biological weapon and she's killing everybody. And Thor does this whole reap the whirlwind thing and sucks her into it, but somehow this guy who can make dimensional portals claims he's killing her. He doesn't just suck her off into some sort of into some like alternate reality or dimension or something. Apparently he rips her to pieces. You will be avenged, Janet Van Dyne. What, are you going to kill yourself later? Because you just, It was an interesting moment, but it should have been explained a little bit more. Now, the gem of this issue is the ending. The ending of this particular book sets up what comes up next, and then we'll get to that in a bit. Dark Reign. Totally fantastic. What directly follows this issue, and I should backtrack a little bit, just to reemphasize that this issue overall is half decent. It does come down to a big dumb scrap, sort of like Civil War, but it's a half-decent scrap, and like I'm saying, the conclusion for what it sets up is absolutely fantastic in the Dark Reign stuff. Now, immediately following that book is the Secret Invasion New Avengers title, which follows what happens with Jessica Jones and Luke Cage's baby, which this cover doesn't indicate one bit. What the fuck does the recreation of the West Coast Avengers #1 cover have to do with their baby? Beats me. At this point, this whole idea of scrollifying covers just seems sort of passé and dumb. There's absolutely no point to that cover whatsoever. Philip Tan does a great job of the art chores in the interior here, and this is a decent story overall. The problem with it is that it barely gives us anything new, and it mostly just covers stuff already in this book. If you're buying this, chances are you're buying this and you don't want to be reading the same thing twice. I've been saying this over and over again, but Ben just dragged things out a little bit too much in some ways. But a decent read, just a little repetitive. Next up we got the Secret Invasion epilogue book, The Mighty Avengers. This is sort of a tribute to Janet Van Dyne, as I just spoiled there a second ago. Something bad happened to her. So this is, like I say, this is a sort of the tearjerker book. Oh, we miss you, Janet. A pretty good issue overall. I quite enjoy this, in fact. And sort of the focus of this book is Hank Pym finding out what he missed the whole time he was gone, being replaced by a Skrull. A good read. I really enjoyed this. Next up, we got the Secret Invasion. You're still on that one, huh? You like the cover? You like that one? I like the cover? It is a nice cover. I like it quite a bit. It's kind of sexy. And next up we got this Secret Invasion Requiem book. This is again a little bit more of a tribute to Janet Van Dyne. This is Hank Pym going over sort of what their lives together. This book is a big fat book. It's $3.99. It's double-sized, and it has a bunch of these reprints from the past with these story sort of surrounding it, this new stuff, using Jocasta, who's sort of the android version of Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp. She has her brain engrams pattern. Her AI is patterned off of the Wasp's personality and brain engrams. So she's been hanging around Hank Pym a lot now, trying to sort of help him get through the grief of Janet Van Dyne. Now these reprints they showed, one of the coolest things about this, actually the coolest thing about this, was they recolored them. You can see there's these sort of layers and nuance of color, which really I quite like. There's dimension to these stories where once there wasn't. So I really like this. Normally I'm not a big fan of stuff that's just reprint stuff, but this, well done. And of course they reprint the classic Hank Pym smack Janet Van Dyne issue, my least favorite Hank Pym story ever. We didn't really need him to become a wife beater, and we really don't need to be reminded of it constantly. But it was appropriate, at least in this case anyways, and they're not emphasizing him being a wife beater. In fact, they kind of point out in this particular issue that he wasn't a Skrull at that point, that in fact he was the guy that smacked her. And fair enough, it was a good story by Jim Shooter. It needs to be remembered as such. Next up we got the Dark Reign book. Now this book in and of itself is really a preview of a whole bunch of new titles and the new setting for the Marvel Universe.
Cover,
yeah. It's got a fairly decent cover. A lot of people aren't buying this book. It's been sitting on a lot of shelves just kind of collecting dust, because really what it is just a preview of the upcoming Secret Warriors, Agents of Atlas, War Machine, Skrull Kill Crew, and New Avengers. I actually quite like this. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed this book quite a bit. A bunch of great tales. Sets the stage for the new Marvel Universe. This art in War Machine, absolutely fantastic. I haven't read this issue yet, so I can't give you a review of it, but this little bit here, this little preview of the series seemed pretty goddamn cool. And of course, Agents of Atlas. Fuck around, this book is unbelievably good. So, I do recommend this, but I think maybe you do have to be a big fan of Marvel overall to get this, and they've mixed maybe too many genres that specific Marvel fans that are only into Avengers wouldn't necessarily want to pick this up. Again, if you're a big Marvel fan, I do recommend it. Good read.